And Walker, the sophomore, across midfield to the 49. A gain of about 21.
Walker's a good-looking athlete. He's only a sophomore, but look, he comes around this corner, heads up. First time they ran with the sweep, with the motion, the first 3 plays. This time they come around to Walker, and you can almost feel him get a sense here in the second quarter. They're starting to get a rhythm a little bit. Walker ends the run well, and now they are 1 yard into Grant territory.
And you even look at a couple of guys at Cal, some former Pacers, Sidquan Thompson and Warrell Williams helping out in that win last week against Tennessee. Henry keeping. He'll get to the 45, a gain of 4. And you talked about those guys from last year, Scott. It's 3 guys that went to Fresno State. Tim Lang, as you mentioned, Devin Cunningham, and J.J. Stallworth, the brother of Dante Stallworth, who also went here to Grant. Terrence Pritchett at Oregon, Ricky Thompson at Sac State, and Christian Topu at USC. And look at the alums. Stallworth, C.J. Wallace just made the Seahawks. Paris Warren's on IR right now. Aaron Garcia, one of the best in arena football history. Ontario Smith, the section leader in career rushing here in the Sac Joaquin section. And the aforementioned Thompson and Williams at Cal. That play going nowhere is Gonzalez tackled in the backfield. Nice job there by Sion Muala. Muala, a guy that could be playing D1 next year, very highly thought of.
But you can see what Franklin's trying to do now. They had some success around the outside. They've set up those outside plays well. Anytime they've gone up the middle, they've actually got no more than 3 yards, and they're running those quarterback keepers for Matthew Henry to try to get him in a flow of a game. And this kind of offense, those are predetermined calls for him to try to loosen him up. So they should throw the football. He'll be calm and throw a strike for him.
3rd down and 7, and that's a 1st down and more. And it's a touchdown for the Yellow Jackets. Snoop Jones showing the speed there as he goes 45 yards.
5'8", 177, and doggone quick. He broke a tackle at the line of scrimmage and basically went untouched from there. Breaks into the secondary. And look at him just run away from the Grant defense there. Moves the ball in the outside arm. That's a sign of a smart running back. A veteran play by the junior in his first start at the varsity level. And this, like we talked about, starting to get in a little bit of a rhythm. And they're a PAT away from tying up this ball game.
And if you didn't trust us, there's the zeros on the clock. Jones showing the speed, and that's messy. Adrian Sierra on for the point after. The kicking game's had a lot of flags.
A big part of the problem last week for Grant was the kicking game. Got an extra point blocked. Obviously, they've already made a critical 15-yard penalty here that negated good field position for him.
Dead ball foul, encroachment against the defense, half the distance on the try.
You know, what's interesting here is a lot of high school coaches will actually take their PAT unit off the field and put their offense on the field here because it does move up a yard. They actually go for 2, moves them within 2 here, but they're going to stay with the extra point.
Here's Sierra, the soccer player, and boots it through, so we are tied. And Scott, one of the keys that you and I talked about leading up to this game is the fact that Franklin's got to stay in this game early. They have now as it's tied at 7. Grant scored on their opening possession. Franklin gets the touchdown on the long run by Snoop Jones. We are tied at 7 here at Rutherford Stadium on Comcast Sportsnet. Here at Grant, Mike Albergini, it's his 17th year as the head coach, his 39th year at Grant. Longtime baseball coach, very successful there, has also been a defensive coordinator here, was the JV coach for 6 years, the freshman coach for 5 years. I asked him, Coach, how much longer are you going to do it? Well, he said this is probably his last year teaching. He's the AD, the head football coach, the head of the physical education department, so he doesn't do that much. I mean, goodness. But he's probably done teaching this year, but he says as long as he feels good, he's going to keep coaching. And I would too when my overall record is 168, 28-2 with 5 section championships. The return this time coming from the 5. It's Snoop Jones. And we got a flag down on the play.
You know, you mentioned Coach Mike Albergini. He's also in charge of discipline in between a few of the periods here. I was talking to him on his cell phone the other day, and in between some of the answers was telling the young ladies on campus to get back to the classroom. I told him I need him to come over to my house to enforce discipline.
Well, if he retires from teaching, he'll have time. Here's the call from Carl Clark.
Personal foul. Block below the waist, half the distance, and a first down.
14-7 Grant, and now Franklin pins himself deep with that penalty. And Coach said he's going to have to see how it goes when he's not on campus. Certainly, one of the great things about being an on-campus coach, you can keep an eye on your players during the day, make sure they're in class, they're doing things academically. But then at the same time, you don't have to worry about teaching if you're not on campus, if you're retired, and maybe devote all of your energy to being the head football coach. Here's a run for Franklin on first down as they try to get some breathing room. And it's Solomon Martin. Martin with a good gainer up to the 16 will be close to a first down. And in fact, it is signaled. But you look what Grant's been able to do just in this decade. I mean, under Mike Albergini, phenomenal. But you look since 2000 in the Sac-Joaquin section, Grant there number 3, but Central Catholic and Colfax are smaller division schools. That's remarkable what they've done. And you look at the other schools in that list as well.
In the 17 years he's been here, nobody has won more football games than Mike Albergini.
And on first down again, look at that strong run for the Yellow Jackets. Certainly they're not intimidated by Grant. You wouldn't when you played them 7 previous years with the guys that are seniors now, maybe have played them the last couple of years.
2 plays in a row, they had the ball inside the 10. They went with their bread and butter base offensive run. They've moved the ball out now, and they have a first down. So they have found the rhythm in this new offense and are running the ball very, very well within the tackles. And it doesn't surprise me with the size they have up front. Vince Mann is 6'5", 295. Their center, Joel Irvin, 6'2", 276. And Juan Alvarado, 6'4", 321. He gets 2 seats on the bus. These are some big guys.
It's Gonzalez this time after 2 straight nice runs by Solomon Martin. Billy Gonzalez, a short gain, yard or 2.
And that's a good change up there. They've been going with the motion guy. They've also kept it with the quarterback on the predetermined call, you know, Matt Henry on those sweeps. So they go inside with Gonzalez. Really the way this offense works, if you have a fullback that can get you 2 or 3 yards on every play, you have to respect that, and that opens up the outside.
There's Tom Werner, the head man in his 14th year at his alma mater. Prior to his arrival, the previous 10 years, Franklin was 9-91. So really able to turn around the program is a toss back and a loss on the play for Franklin as Grant all over that. Play made there by Javon Johnson.
They put this offense in to negate the speed of Grant's defense. Literally changed their offense knowing that they were playing Grant. And as we talked about earlier, they measure themselves by how well they run things against Grant. Try to negate their speed there, but I tell you what, a slow developing sweep is not going to slow Grant. Grant is a very fast, very athletic defense.
Franklin also had a stretch in the late 70s, early 80s where the program went 0-41-3. But Coach Werner has led the team to the playoffs in 6 of the last 9 years. Grant's gone in all 16 previous seasons under the direction of Coach Albergini. That is the longest running total in the Sac-Joaquin section. Benson on the carry, and he'll get just across the 31 and brings up a 4th down.
You see Billy Gonzalez, the fullback, is literally 1 step behind the quarterback, Matt Henry. You have to watch what he's doing. They fake it up inside and go with the counter around the outside, but that's why they gave the ball to Gonzalez early. You have to honor and respect the fullback if you're going to run the double wing T.
And a timeout taken here by Grant. And that shows you the precision of the double wing T. When everybody's so close in that tight alignment, you can't be bumping into a teammate.
You also can't blitz. You can't blitz, and that's why they put it in. You can't bring up a safety or a corner in blitz, because if you give it to the fullback up inside and he breaks through into that second layer, he's gone.
So Grant trying to measure themselves against whoever will play them, and they find that a lot of people won't. Certainly Franklin does. The 8th year in a row they've matched up. They've even had to go outside the state, as we mentioned, going to Alta of Utah next week, playing Bakersfield last week, but he wants to toughen his team up and really find out what they're made of.
Not only are we playing tough teams, we're driving a long ways to play them, and so we'll test our focus and our maturity, and I think it's going to make us a lot better down the road. I believe we're one of the better teams in town for sure, so this will help age us real quick.
That's about the understatement of the century. One of the better teams in town, the winningest record over 17 years, but you're right, he plays everybody.
Number 1 team according to the SAC-B. A fake here by Opeta, I think out of necessity, and he's not going to get the first down. Grant able to read it and come up to make the stop well short of a first down. The snap wasn't the best of Opeta, and I think he felt that was his best opportunity not to have it blocked. And Derwan Howard making the play there for Grant.
Well, that's basically a turnover. That's basically a turnover right there because it negates about 30 yards of field position. And I'm going to guess it's getting pretty close here to the end of the second quarter. As you might know, the clock's not working as we've talked about, but it's pretty close. I think it's part of the reason Grant took that timeout to set up their offense and conserve some time. So instead of having to go 60 or 70 yards, they've got the ball on the 28.
And of course, the officials keeping the time on the field, probably keeping each team apprised of how much time is in fact left in this first half. There's Conacetti out of the eye. Straight back drop, and he is hammered. Big time play there by Storm McCumber. It was raining that time on Conacetti.
Just a solid hit. Conacetti's going to be feeling that one for today and tomorrow. He took just a simple 5-step drop, and Storm McCumber right in his ear hole. That's a great defensive call right there to set their linebacker up on the blitz. And, you know, so far Franklin has done a really nice job controlling the line of scrimmage, and Conacetti has not completed a pass here in the first half. And you're lucky that time that McCumber got him, because they did have a receiver open on the outside. He broke on man coverage.
He's gone back to pass 4 times, actually make it 6 times. Twice he's run, twice he's been sacked, twice incomplete. Last week, though, in the loss to Bakersfield, Conacetti did throw for over 200 yards and a touchdown to Darvin McCauley, and there's a flag, a delay of game here against the Pacers, who lead 14-7, but haven't looked their best here in their second game.
Malik Cole
against the offense, 5 yards. Repeat second down and about 20.
Check that. Jamil Paul was wide open. He was on man coverage. Franklin gambles with the blitz to try to get him pushed back in field position, and the gamble worked. But you saw Conacetti there coming up to the line of scrimmage. He was still trying to fix his chin strap. So, you know, right now in this situation of second and long, clock winding down, you know they'll go to Williams, or at least try to move Conacetti around in the pocket, give him the opportunity to run. He's got great foot speed.
I think when he came to the line, he was looking where number 43 was, too. It's on the blitz. It's McCumber. He was picked up that time, but other guys weren't. Now Conacetti will take it and run. He trips himself up, really, and only ends up getting a yard or two. It looked like there was a chance for that to be a big play. In on the stop, a couple of guys, Snoop Jones for Franklin, and also Vince Main.
Great penetration again by Franklin. Again, their 5th pass play. He has no chance there. He takes 5 steps and is kind of losing his feel in the pocket. That hit will do that. It'll jar him, because he actually, when he gets more experience, will step up there and have himself a throwing lane. Instead, he had good, you know, he broke containment, but Franklin, obviously, Wood was right there to force him upfield.
3rd and 17. Waning moments of the second quarter, we believe. A screen set up to the fullback Fox. There's a flag down. Probably going to be a hold. Fox only gets a couple.
Really a lot of penalties here in this first half.
Yes, we have.
Not surprised after a sack that they went to shotgun.
Block in the back against the offense. Now, hold the ball. What play did we have?
You know, a hold or a block in the back is some way to try to keep somebody off their quarterback. Conacetti probably doesn't mind that. He just doesn't want him to get caught doing it.
Well, and again, you can sort of give Franklin a pass on some of their penalties. It is their opener, but this is the second game for Grant. I think Coach Albergini would be the first guy to say that.
And these aren't small ones. These are of the 15-yard variety. I mean, they had the ball 1st and 10 at the 28. It's now going to be 3rd and close to 30. And that's not a situation you want to put your young quarterback in, not when you're a ground control, Marcellus Williams-dominated offense.
And so the ball goes all the way back to the 46 to pick up a first down. Grant would have to get inside the 20 to, shall we say, the 18. So, yeah, you're pretty close. We'll say a 3rd and 28.
That's not bad.
No, it's very good. Good math. The University of Arizona education paying off.
Poli-sci major, though.
Very nice. And this is going to probably go against Grant again.
Probably going to go against McCauley, number 17, the receiver. He kind of flinched when he came up to the line of scrimmage. They called it on the first sound. A quick snap to try to catch him off guard.
That's a dead ball. And then Kreutzmann against Blue. He lined up offside. Second down, Franklin, 3rd.
Albergini is just getting frustrated. Again, it's a receiver down here shuffling. When you get to the line of scrimmage, you ask the ref, am I on the line, am I not? Once he tells you you're set, you look in at the ball to see when it's snapped. That's all you need to do.
So 3rd and about 33, we'll say. Conacetti going down. There's a flag on the field as well. That's Billy Gonzalez. Gonzalez and McCumber very active for Franklin defensively. But let's wait and see on the flag call again.
Brings up a 4th down for the Pacers.
And Grant's running off the field to get the punt team on, so you would think it's against the Pacers, and Franklin going to decline it most likely.
They need to settle Conacetti down at halftime because, again, I think he steps up and has himself a throwing lane. But you got to give Franklin credit. They're getting great penetration against them. Very good at
procedure against the offense. Not enough men on the line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th down. The penalty is declined.
And a very veteran offensive line. That's one place where Grant is not young. They've returned a lot of guys on the offensive line. So give Franklin credit right now. I'd say they're winning the line of scrimmage battle.
Cowling on the punt. Snoop Jones, he's going to pick it up at the 5. That's usually a no-no, and he pays for it at the 6. Grant did a great job to fly in there. Huey Self, the backup quarterback, was there. Also Boris Davis as well. Jones, I realized he didn't want it to bounce down to the 1. Got to be careful, though, when you pick it up inside the 10.
Especially when the ball is bouncing, it's going away from you, and Grant is coming down on you. Usually what you do is stand on the 10. If it's going past you, you let it go, because the last thing you want to do is get hit as you're trying to go field it, because you're a live player there because the ball's on the ground. But it's the first game. Snoop Jones actually probably saved his team a couple yards there, turning around and getting close to the 10.
Yeah, as long as you don't drop it. And, of course, Snoop has the touchdown for Franklin as Grant leads 14-7 nearing the end of the 2nd quarter, we presume. And we're told from the field we're at about a minute to go here in the 1st half. Franklin's got to be careful. Don't turn the ball over here inside their own 10. We're just going to keep it on the ground. Going nowhere that time. Matavali and others there to stop Benson.
Grant does have 2 timeouts, so it'll be interesting to see. One thing they can force them to do is try to kick the ball and block the punt.
Sure.
That's really their only play now, especially the way their offense is playing, to try to make a play on special teams, where it looks like Coach Albergini is just going to be content to let Franklin run a few into the line of scrimmage and go in the locker room. And you remember last year, this ball game was 14-7 going late into the 4th quarter before Grant actually got a few touchdowns to pull away, 28-7.
Yeah, he scored 2 touchdowns in the final 7 minutes last year, and that was at Franklin. That was the first ever night home game on the Franklin campus in 56 years. They brought in the lights for the first time. Tom and Kathy Werner Field, so named for their head coach, and that's Solomon Martin. And this is William Rutherford Memorial Stadium, but we were saying it should be Mike Albergini Field eventually.
Absolutely. You're seeing that trend throughout college and high school sports. The coach that's been there the longest period of time, and that looks like it will be the last play of the 1st half.
Are you sure? It is. You're right. Hard to tell with the clock, but yes, the players going to the respective locker room, and I would think even though Franklin goes down by 7, all in all, they know they're still in this game. They'll get the ball to start the 2nd half. They have to feel pretty good about themselves right now. 14-7 Pacers trying to avoid an 0-2 start after they lost in Bakersfield last week. Back with the start of half number 2 in just a bit here on Comcast Sportsnet. And on top as we're set to start the 2nd half, Pacers leading 14-7. Last year they outscored their opponents on their way to a 13-0 mark, 591-67, an average of 45-5 during the season. Harris Capelli Conacetti kicking off to start the 2nd half, and it'll be the Yellow Jackets who will take it inside the 5. It's bobbled by Snoop Jones, but he has speed. Snoop Jones has the only touchdown for Franklin, and he takes it back to the 45 before he is stopped. So Franklin down by 7, but great field position to start here in the 2nd half.
Almost a mirror image of what we saw in the 1st half. They kicked it the same direction, and Grant came out and got great field position. Good job breaking tackles, switching his hands. You know what, if he cuts the outside to the left, he's going to see on tape, he's running all the way to the house. A nice touchdown saving tackle. But now it's 1st and 10 at the 45, and they've got to be excited about where they're starting off here in the 2nd half.
Jeremiah Toma makes the tackle on Jones, but great starting field position. It's Henry on the keeper, and he's lost there in the shuffle with all the defensive linemen and no gain. Muala there for Grant, among others.
It's the third time they've run that play, Eric, that predetermined. Really want to get things going with Matt Henry, the senior, one of the leaders on the team, 5'10", 165. But all 3 times they've run it, I think they've run it really to set up something else because they haven't got more than 3 yards any time.
Underneath handoff to Snoop Jones. Here he goes again. Jones looks like he's going to be close to a Franklin first down. A late flag comes in.
I think they had a pretty full grasp of his face mask, and since they took him down with it, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go with the 15-yard version here, and that'll really hurt Grant.
Have a personal foul against the Pacers.
It wasn't a late hit. I didn't see anybody come in the pile late, but he was thrown down and adjusting his face mask at the bottom of the pile, so what was a nice first down run could put them close to the 30-yard line here.
And so Jones, it's hard to say. He might have gotten the
Personal
first down.
foul, illegal helmet contact against the defense. It'll be a first down.
But he certainly will now, and that's 10 penalties against Grant. And as you said, Scott, they've been extremely costly penalties.
Well, the 15-yard, I mean, the kicking game penalty really kicked him, the roughing the kicker, because not only it was 4th and 25, it gave him an automatic first down.
Here's Solomon Martin. Martin gets to the outside. He's inside the 20. Martin with the straight arm down to the 5. That's a pickup of 26.
It's the first game of the season, but they are starting to get in a solid rhythm with this double wing T approach. They came out, ran Henry, and then they've gone back and forth. This time Solomon Martin with a great stiff arm at the end of the run to give himself a couple extra yards. Solomon Martin, one of the senior captains, is looking impressive to start things off in the second half.
His brother, Lance Martin, a former standout at Stagg High School in Stockton, went on to play at San Jose State. As a senior, Lance Martin rushed for over 2,300 yards, a San Joaquin County record. First and goal. To the outside, Jones trying to head to the corner. Nice tackle there. It's Dominique Walker. We heard a lot from Walker early in the game, and he comes back to make another big play, his 3rd or 4th big play on defense.
Walker doing a solid job on the left side there. He tipped the pass early in the first half, made a big stick on the first stop that Franklin had on that 3-and-out, that first series, and that was a touchdown-saving tackle there of Snoop Jones. Also the first time we've seen Franklin actually come up in that power eye set. Coach Verner said we see that in goal line situations, run some power eye, get away from that base double wing T that they've set up.
Would you agree Franklin has to get a touchdown out of this drive? No field goal here. We'll see that the way they're going right now, maybe no points coming. And that loses yardage as Matavali, the middle backer, as he stops Snoop Jones. So Jones had a couple of carries here in the last few plays, no gainer, and they're losing about 2.
Good play by Matavali, good tackle, because Solomon Martin, Johnny Walker, Snoop Jones, these guys can break tackles and have already tonight, so nice job of making the play. To answer your question, do they need to get a touchdown here? I would have said yes when the ball was on within the 5.
Right.
Now they need to come away with some points.
Right.
You can't squander this opportunity around the 10-yard line. If you get close to the goal line, they'll probably go for it for field position, but they just need some points.
3rd and goal. Breaking a tackle is Martin, heading in. And it's a touchdown. Solomon Martin, he set it up with the 26-yard run a couple plays back, and the 3-year varsity player, much like Marcellus Williams for Grant, gets Franklin on the scoreboard on their opening drive of the second half, and they're an extra point away from being tied with Grant.
And Solomon Martin this time looked like he was going to be stopped for no gain. They'd have to bring out the field goal team. He broke a tackle, and then again, just like he did on the big run, good stiff arm to get himself in the end zone, and they've tied things up 14-14. Way to start off the second half, obviously propelled by the great kickoff return and the 15-yard penalty, but that drive was all Solomon Martin.
Here's Sierra for the point after.
Kick is up.
And it's good. It got the crossbar, but it gets through and counts just the same. We are tied at 14. Solomon Martin on the touchdown. Now he has 6 carries for 72 yards and the equalizer. Look at the straight arm to fight his way in. We have ourselves a ball game here early in the 3rd, 14-14. Grant Franklin on Comcast Sportsnet. Team Grant and Franklin after Franklin takes the opening kickoff of the second half. And they drive down the field 56 yards, get a touchdown from Solomon Martin. Now, of course, Grant went 13-0 last year. Thought they had a chance to get into the state championship game. It was De La Salle, though, and they ended up losing to Canyon as you look at the 1, 2, and 3 division scores.
But that second Division II ranking is what Coach Mike Albergini was so upset about. He thought his team deserved to be there instead of Palo Alto. And talking about the number of students he wanted to play in that football game.
Well, Grant is Division II in the Sac-Joaquin section because of the Metro League, so that's why they're playing Division II as far as the Sac-Joaquin section, but they're eligible for the state title game at Division I. Now, they wanted to play De La Salle this year, non-league. There was some early conversation, but it never got very far, and they thought they could have played in that D1 game against Canyon from Southern California, but De La Salle goes and De La Salle lost. But wouldn't that have been something to see De La Salle and Grant this year in non-league? And eventually maybe there'll be a NorCal championship game and a SoCal championship game to get to the state championship.
And that's the best way to do it, and that's what Mike Albergini wants. And this whole point about Palo Alto is if you look at the size of the schools and how they rate you in Division I and Division II, he thought his ball club, if they weren't going to play where De La Salle did, had an opportunity and should have played on some statewide level for recognition of what they'd accomplished.
So here's Marcellus Williams on 1st and 10. Williams down the sideline. He stays in and scores. Marcellus Williams with the answer, 50 yards.
Talk about answering that. I guess that drive summary will be one play, 55 yards. What a run by Marcellus Williams, his second touchdown of the game. You saw his speed and power all on one play. And more troubling for Franklin there is Snoop Jones is actually injured on the play and barely making his way over to the sidelines here. It looks like he banged up his right leg.
And talking with Coach Werner, he said the thing about Grant, they score in a hurry. We saw it in a flash right there.
Last week they had 3 touchdowns. Only one of them came within 25 yards. They were all big plays, and we've seen a lot of big plays already.
Snap was low. Conacetti does a nice job to get it down, but Hernandez misses. So it's 20-14. Grant on top, but they missed the extra point. And what a burst of speed at the end there by Marcellus Williams, like his cousins, Jarrell and DJ, no question, as he takes it to the house. 20-14, Grant on top. The one-play scoring drive. Marcellus Williams, his second touchdown of the game. 2014, Grant on top, Marcellus Williams, 2 touchdowns, 146 yards on 12 carries.
And will that missed extra point come back to haunt them? Last week they had a field goal block within 17 yards. And tonight missed an extra point.
Ball is loose. Grant may have it. Martin came out on the return. It was stripped out of there, and it is Pacer ball, the first turnover of the game, and that is a big one. And it's Willie Johnson that comes out of there with it for Grant at the 35, and Martin is still down. Maybe his ankle got rolled over. Maybe a little dejected as well.
I think his pride was actually hurt more than anything there. It was a good return. He had a great drive to finish the last series, and Franklin